Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are starting a brand new show today, and I am so excited to start Mob Psycho 100. So, way back in December of 2021, I was finishing up Bungo Stray Dogs, and I had a poll to see what would replace it, and Seraph of the End won that poll, and that's the series that I just caught up with the manga last week on that series, so I've been watching it throughout 2022, but there was one other series that only lost by 2 votes. And I felt bad for it because to be honest, I love Seraph of the End. I'm glad I've seen it. I'm on board with it for sure. But I had been secretly hoping that Mob Psycho would win because I'd heard so many good things about it. And I was like, I really want to watch Mob Psycho. But the underdog won, and that was all right. So I decided it only lost by 2 votes. You know what? I really want to watch it. And season 3 is coming out this fall. I'm going to watch it when I'm done with Seraph of the End. And here we are. So I'm caught up with Seraph of the End. I am still going to react to the manga as those volumes come out over the next course of months to years from now. So that series I am still going to keep up with, keep in the present time with the manga. But yeah, no, Mob Psycho. I'm pretty excited. Know nothing about it, and I don't want to know anything about it. So if you are just tuning into this channel for the very first time, my name is Romania Black, and I go into most of the series I watch completely blind, and I don't want to be spoiled. I don't want to know plot spoilers. I don't want hints or clues. I don't want people, if I have a theory I put out there, you don't have to correct me. I want to wallow in my ignorance and let the reveals and surprises of the series wash over me, and you all get to watch my reaction to that, and then we can discuss it afterwards and talk about the series. So I've got a community post on YouTube about spoiler guidelines if you want to go check that out. But yeah, I'm pretty excited. I may post it down below if I remember to, but in the YouTube description. But I'm pretty excited. So yeah, I know nothing about this series at all except they're psychics. There's somehow psychics tied to it. That's all I know. That's absolutely it. I don't know the genre. I don't want to know the genre. I want to be completely surprised by this series. I've just heard it's good, and my brother told me that the creator of One Punch Man created it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I've watched One Punch Man. Like, I've watched like an episode or 2 of it, and the art style I could recognize. I was like, okay, I get that. So that's all I know. But season 1 is 12 episodes. Season 2 has 13 in an OVA, and then season 3 starting this fall. So we're gonna power through Mob Psycho. We're gonna watch seasons 1, 2, the OVA, and then season 3, and then go from there. And then I guess wait till season 4 if there is a season 4. So I have no clue what to expect. This is really exciting. With Seraph of the End, I knew it was about vampires, and I was like, oh, well, when you have a story about vampires, you kind of know what to expect. But psychics is a little bit more general, so I don't know. I have no clue what this series is going to bring. I'm just really excited because it's a fresh show. It's going to be fun. We're going to watch the subtitles. I'm really excited. So I hope you all are too. But we'll see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the reaction. There'll be a link to it down below. And then we'll come back and discuss the episode and go through it proper. I'm watching it through Crunchyroll and doing it that way. And there's a streamable link down below. And then, as always, if you want to watch next week's episode, it's going to be on Patreon a week early. Otherwise, it'll be on YouTube the week after that. So, let's find out. I'm so curious. I've been so excited to watch this and see what this series is about. And I've literally waited a year. So, and as soon as I found out season 3 was coming out this fall, I'm like, well, that'll be perfect. We'll just segue right into it. And by the time I get to season 3, you all will have already watched it. So, you'll know what to expect. So we'll see, but let's dive in, shall we? I'm pretty excited. Let's get this done this fall. We're going to start Mob Psycho 100, episode 1, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh my gosh. This is great. Wow, okay, so, this is probably the most, this is a very unique genre already, and it's so different from anything I'm watching right now, but I kind of love that about it, is that it's so fresh. It's like, what if Spy Family was ridiculous, and what if Spy Family and Neon Genesis had maybe a baby? And not Neon Genesis it's weird. It's like if Spy Family and Neon Genesis had a baby. And I say that because there's the Spy Family, because I'm watching Spy Family right now too. And there's that element of it where it's very like not slice of life, but it's very much like it's typical slice of life, everyday life. Like there's no fantasy world or like a futuristic sci-fi, anything like that. No, it's just like very much like embedded in reality. I guess Spy Family has a fantasy element to it because it's a fictional world, but this is very realistic, right? But there's this like weird abstract element to it. The only thing I really know about One Punch Man, I've only watched like an episode of One Punch Man, and I've seen a few chapters of the manga. The only thing I really know about it is that I know that Saitama, who's the main character of One Punch Man, his whole thing is he punches something once and it dies no matter what. And so I like the idea that this creator kind of has characters that are protagonists that are very chill, very zen, and have these ridiculously overpowered abilities. But that's not the focus, because in any other shonen or any other like stereotypical action battle anime or manga, it'd be like, oh, about this protagonist and getting stronger and blah, 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 the power of Nakama and everything. Here, no. Mob's pretty much OP as it is. He just doesn't realize it, and his teacher is a complete sham. I love it. Reigen Arataka, I have a feeling I'm going to love him because he's a trash king. I've talked about this with a couple other series. I have a certain type of character. In real life, I would hate them. Diva characters, like there's a character in Ace of the Diamond that's a pitcher that's a diva. And there's other characters in shows that are just complete, like, peacocks of characters. And in any realistic setting, I would despise them. I'd be like, you need to chill and just quit being a diva. But in fictional worlds, they're a lot of fun. And they usually lend to really hilarious or ridiculous things happening to them. And so I like characters like that. But I also love characters that are trash kings, because they're just the worst. But it's in the best way they're the worst. And Reigen is one of them. So we're going to talk about him. But I like the idea that this mangaka is presenting this protagonist who kind of, they don't realize they've got it all figured out. And it's just the process of all this. It seems like it's kind of like a weird coming of age story, because he's in middle school, right? He's a middle schooler, right? That he's like this weird coming of age story where he's just like growing into himself and learning about himself. And then Reigen is the worst mentor. It's like if Obi-Wan was a complete sleaze bag. It really is. It's like if Anakin from Star Wars, if a character like Anakin Skywalker had all this power but was super chill and kind, and then Reigen is like if Obi-Wan Kenobi was big sleazy slime lord. It's like, oh my God, I am here for it. But this opening, at first I was like, what is this opening setting up? It's setting up Mob, and it's setting up the idea of Mob's power and these powers of psychic. So obviously, like they count up to 100. So I'm guessing when he reaches 100%, he's going to explode. It said percent until Mob's explosion. And we're at 27% already. We're a third of the way in the first episode of the show. Okay. But yeah, I'm like assuming he explodes. That's when he's like, this cataclysmic thing is going to happen with Mob. We can only hope that it doesn't. But yeah, but Mob like up on this, like fighting all these monsters and just like warping them out of space. The art style is ridiculous and I'm here for it. It's Bone Studio doing it, which is fitting because Seraph of the End was done by Bones. Bungo Stray Dogs was done by Bones. And so this series is done by Bones as well. It's great. I see why a lot of you wanted it to replace Bungo Stray Dogs because it's the same animation studio. But yeah, the idea that these ghosts and everything, these spirits, Mob is able not only to see them and feel their presence and tell which ones are strong or not, but he's able to fight them and disintegrate them and melt them into passing on to the next world. God, it's great. But I like the idea that this is all like in Mob's head and he's imagining all of this and then he's getting to like 100 and maybe it's all building up to when he actually explodes and we're just seeing like we're going to see it happen now and then we're going to backtrack to how do we get to this point. Maybe that's what it is. God, Mob. Our boy, Shigeo. Oh my God. So yeah. And so we have this tombstone. It says Namu Amida Butsu. Which I guess disagree. So I like this opening narration where they talk about the supernatural elements that science can't explain. And they're prefacing like all the spirits and that there are those who are able to not only see the spirits, but also help them move on to the next life. And that those are beings those who fight every day. I like that we're getting like, there's one that says Suishu, there's like a sage, he has like all the beads and everything and the hat. We see one that I assume is supposed to be Reigen, or maybe it's another character. We see the monk. And we see like the one guy with the suit. I'm like, is it supposed to be like a play on Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho? Because he has the green suit and the black hair. Is that supposed to be making fun of Yusuke? Are all of these characters making fun of psychics from other series? Because that would be absolutely freaking hilarious. They shine a ray of hope into the chaotic darkness. Yeah. Oh my God. People call them psychics. So I like that this world is setting up. This world is setting up that yes, psychics are real. They are literally exorcists. They have the power to dispel ghosts and send them to the next life. They're just few and far between. And Reigen, who is a complete sham, just happens to have found himself an actual psychic. And he's using him to help his scams. I'm like, oh my God. But God, the animation style, Reigen ARATAKA. I feel like his voice actor is Jean from Attack on Titan. Let me look up Reigen ARATAKA. He's been in different things. He's voice acted for like 20 years. He's like a pretty big veteran voice actor. But let me go to some of his recent works. See what our boy has been in. Oh, he's Tsukishima. Wait, what? Oh, he's Akateru. He's his brother. Okay, I was like, he's not the same voice actor as him. He's been recently in Sakurai. He's in Stars Align. Okay. I was trying to think who he was in that one. He has been in Mob Psycho. He has been in One Punch Man, of course. He's Ayami Soma in Fruits Basket. Okay, he's Miyuki? What? He's Miyuki's voice actor? No! Are you joking? What? I can't believe he's Mizuki Kazuya's voice actor. You're joking. Oh my God. That, would not have pegged that. Would not have. And the voice actor for Mob, his only other credited voice acting gig has been, he's been in Vanitas. He's been in the case study of Vanitas, and that's it. So he's really only been Mob. Interesting. That's been his only voice acting role. Crazy! But yeah, Miyuki's voice actor is Reigen. That blows my freaking mind. Amazing. If you watch my Ace of the Diamond reactions, you'll know who that is. I'm surprised. But yeah. So, oh my God. The animation style of this, from what I've seen of One Punch Man, you can tell the way that the mangaka does eyes is very similar between One Punch Man and this. But the art style itself is very different. It is much more like One Punch Man, the one episode that I've seen of it, is making fun of shonen in a lot of ways. So the art style is very reminiscent of shonen. This looks like, there's that one that was like Bob's Burgers or something. Like the animation is very crude line work for the most part. Like the line work of the realistic world, of the real world, is very like crude and rudimentary, and it's just like very thick line work. It's very simple. It looks like that Western cartoon where it was like a therapist, right, from the 90s. And it's very simplistic, but then when it gets to like the ghosts and the fantastical elements, it kicks up a notch. So it's not that the mangaka isn't capable of drawing different. They are, because I've seen One Punch Man. But it's that they've toned it down specifically to be more realistic. And then when you get to like the psychic stuff, it expands and gets more abstract and cool. And so that's neat. But man, Reigen ARATAKA, the voice acting still floors me. But his fees to spending on the exorcism course you pick. So yeah, it ranges from 2,000 to 12,000 yen. And he has like all these like the mob, oh my God, the Mob Psycho Gold Award 100. Oh my God. And there's like all these little psycho awards, Eco Mark Award. There's like 3 different seals of approval on it. What a sham. Executing the exorcism. We will do our best to reduce the spirit possessing you. Option A, trial course. A mere 2,000 yen. Outside offer period is 3,980 yen. Oh my God. You get 20% off. Shut up. The option B, serious course. A mere 5,000 yen, tax excluded. Outside of the offer period, 8,980 yen. Shut up. And then option C, recommended, the all-out course. It gets you 99%. A mere 12,000 yen tax excluded. Outside offer period 19,880 yen. Refer us to a friend now and get an extra 5% reduction. Also get an add-on exorcism for 20% off. Oh my god. I like he's just like going through it. And he's like, reduction in spirit guaranteed. I'm gonna freaking love Reigen because he's such a sham. He's a trash king. God, yes. Y'all. It's amazing. He's all like got the moves and everything. He's just a salesman. And I love that in any like situation like this where you'd have a conversation between two characters like this, there's like the significant other off in the wings. Like Taro, the boyfriend's like, excuse me, like just ready to come in. It's amazing. The comedy in this series is perfect so far. I love Reigen. Like his just being like, it's hard to get completely rid of, but have no fear. I was like, I'll take care of it for 20% off. And I love this woman is instantly like, oh, Reigen sensei. And he's like, now hold on a second. I like his apple haircut. He's like, and who might you be? He's like, this is my boyfriend. He's like, what a benevolent fellow. Because he makes fun of him the whole time. He's like, oh, you're dating this poor homely woman. And he's just like, excuse me? He's like, listen up, you. This is super shady. He's like, Hanako, you should. I love that her name is Hanako. Like Toilet Bound Hanako-kun. That's really funny. That's clever. I like that. Super shady. I love he's just like, I can't blame you for feeling that way. I love that he just like, who would believe a story about ghosts and nightmares? As he like does this thing by the window. Oh my god. He's like, I can't trust you. I love that he has these dramatic poses of his hand in his pocket, like just ready to go. If I exercise the spirit, I'm sure Hanako's face will return to normal! And he's like, there's nothing wrong with her face. What a good boyfriend, Taro. That was a great answer. I love that Reigen, because he's so shallow and petty, he thought that she was being possessed by a spirit hurting her face. Or he was just giving a horrible dig and burn at her. And Taro was the kind boyfriend that was like, dude, there's nothing wrong with her face. God, this is great. Ever since you did the test of courage, you've been having these dreams. And so they go to this place. And again, all I could think of the whole time watching this was that this is like Ghost Hunters. This is like one of those series where the people are like, oh my god, do you feel that aura? Did you hear something? And they have like infrared lights and everything, but you know there's clearly not a ghost there. And you're like, oh, okay, it so reeks of being fake. And this guy is like Taro is like, you're a fake. You're clearly not a psychic. And he's like, oh, I'm at that building. Like he gets the buildings wrong. He's doing the dramatic poses. I guess it makes sense that he's Miyuki's voice actor too, because he's kind of a troll. Reigen's kind of a troll. And the girl's like all about it. And the guy's like, there's no such thing as ghosts. It's fine. I also love, like I said in the reaction, there's a guy that walks past them in this scene that is just like has that look on his face, and you just know that Reigen like scams these people off the streets every single day, and this guy has to walk to work and listen to this every day and just be like, you're such an asshole. And he's like, the man that just walked past you, Taro-san. And he's like, what? There was a close shave. There's an evil spirit too. God. Like, Reigen is so animated, and he's so convincing because he's just so confident, right? The butt-chin goblin. God. He's like, what are you, 8? Oh my god. He's the one being rude. Yeah, no, Reigen is the shallow, conceited one. He's like, now. I love his, like, he has the, like, stereotypical, like, now look, like the little stereotypical anime face with the eyes closed, but it doesn't look right because the animation style is so bizarre. It makes it look kind of sickly. Oh my god, there's always people like him. I'm gonna love Reigen. I can already tell. So yeah, so they actually go in the house that's haunted by this man who died by having his head through the ceiling from being scared by a cockroach. And I love that he has like the way this series like makes the moves, like they're like the dramatic throwing of salt, the salt punch, like everything. And I just love how serious Reigen is during this. He's like, I see, that's what's going on here. Like he's trying to just be so over the top and serious. God, it's great. And then the actual ghosts. I really thought for a second that there weren't going to be actual ghosts. I thought there were not going to be actual spirits. I thought that it was going to be that this was all in Mob's head, and it maybe, but I don't think it is because they see the ghosts. But I thought it was all going to be in Mob's head, that he was going to maybe like be this kid that just had this really vivid imagination and thought he was seeing spirits, and that Reigen maybe like, I don't know, that maybe Reigen just like took him under his wing and like sympathized with him or something. But no, they're actual ghosts. There are literal spirits. It's just Reigen's not a psychic. He's a sham artist, and he's cornered these poor people as well. And then the ghost shows up, and I love the humor of this too, that the ghost's like, that salt didn't do anything. Like, it has to be purified salt or it won't work. And he's like, damn it. The grocery store salt isn't going to work. He's like, did I only imagine that spirits are weak against salt? And it's like, no, you just don't have the right salt. He's like, I have to call my ultimate weapon, which he does. His ultimate weapon is Mob. God. And I love that we get that fake out where we see the guy on the phone and we think that that's who Reigen's calling, but then the car peels out and we see Mob actually getting out in the street. Oh my God, with the flip phone. He's like, oh, Mob, could you come by? I love how just, he's like, no, seriously, no, there's an evil spirit. He's like, there's an evil spirit here. Can you just like show up? And then they're all just standing there looking at him like, the client and the evil spirit are both waiting. And I love that they just hang out, like, looking at each other. The guy, and there's a cockroach that goes by, and he's got salt on his head. But then Mob, who is a little psychic, like, walks onto the scene with, like, the aura coming out of him, looking like a superhero. And he just walks in. And then this ghost is like, oh. So after salt, you're using a middle schooler. And then, yeah, and then just Mob lifts up his hands and he's gone. And it's just like the animation style and everything goes crazy. It's so good. Like, it is a very distinct style. Kageyama Shigeo, known as Mob. Oh my God. His Reigen ARATAKA student. And the protagonist of this story. He's such an unsuspecting protagonist. Like, Master, I asked you not to summon me on short notice. I want to know how these two met. How the hell Reigen got this kid to work for him? Because how did he convince Mob he was a psychic? That's the thing, because Reigen is clearly not a psychic. But either Mob fully believes that he is, or he just, is fooling himself and tolerates it, and is just telling himself that Reigen is, but deep down maybe he knows that he isn't. But I'm like, how did these two meet? What is happening? The OP is a bop. I freaking love it. It is so good. But yeah, I want to know their backstory now and how they met. And so I can't wait to get in this. But yeah, his office is Spirits and Such Consultant Office. Oh my God. And so they clearly got like a lot of yen, like nearly over 1,000, like a couple thousand yen. He's like, you're a lifesaver. And he puts up the money and he gives him like 30 cents. I also love that on Reigen's wall is a poster of himself. What a trash king. What a trash king. And he's like, well, today was just a low-level spirit, so I was letting you handle the small fry. And, I'll give you your hourly pay. Think of it as a bonus. And he's like, oh, sure. And so, yeah, he's like, oh, no, but, back there, if it was a low-level spirit, why couldn't you handle it? And he's like, it was so weak. And Reigen's like, oh, yeah, I love that Reigen knows nothing about these spirits. He's like, to get to my level, you gotta be so strong. So you end up melting everyone around you during a simple exorcism. Oh my God, yes. So his lies. He's just like, no, Mob. He's like, no, if you just don't do it right, then, I could have hurt everybody around me. So it's a good thing you were here. That's why I ask you to take care of the weaker ones. And he's like, really? Also, I'm not quite sure what you mean by melt either. He's like, you idiot. It's because you lack training. You need to learn everything you can from me, your master. So, and it said on that poster himself, it says, the new star of the 21st century, Reigen ARATAKA, Spirits and Such Consultant Office. God. So, yeah. So, maybe Mob's like, well, they don't melt. They just pass on to the other world. But ARATAKA's like, oh, well, I'm so powerful that I can hurt things. So, there's a part of me that wonders if Mob really suspects that ARATAKA is not a psychic. He just goes along with it because he wants a friend. Because by the end of the episode, when they go get ramen together, we'll talk about that. But I'm like, maybe Mob just wants a friend, and so he kind of tolerates him because of that. Your powers are meant to be used. Not doing so would be a waste. And working for me lets you help others while also being training for you. You're killing two birds with one stone. I just love how serious he is in his pose and everything. But Mob, he's like, if you misuse a power that's all too great, You'll only destroy yourself. I'm like, we're banking up till an explosion, so Reigen, maybe you should consider that. I'm teaching you how to control your powers so they don't go berserk. Yeah, sure. God, he's so full of shit. But Mob is so impressionable. And he just takes it seriously. He's like, you wouldn't use your psychic powers against other people. Well, yeah, Reigen doesn't want him using his psychic powers because somebody else might see and try to take him away from Reigen. So he's just using Mob. But poor Mob is such a little sweet cinnamon bun that he just goes along with it. Oh, and he turned it on. Yeah. Progress towards Mob explosion, 22%. When did we... so he's not worked... We're already at 27%. So I don't think he's worked too long for Reigen because he's only at 22% now. Anytime we have a Japanese show with an omelet with ketchup on it or sauce, I want it. I want the rice omelet. I want that. I want the sauce. Y'all, it's not fair. Also, I love that he has the bending of the spoons. Like, it's so... And he's like, there you go again, bending spoons. I like the family knows he's a psychic too. I'm like, are they all psychics? Is it like a genetic thing and Mob's just inherited the gift? And the family's like, bending spoons again. And he's like, oh, he's going through puberty. It's fine. So maybe the dad's a psychic? Let him bend some spoons. Aw. He's like, I'm sorry. Yeah, so again, this is like a coming of age story in a way. That Shigeo is... Mob is going through puberty and like growing up and learning about the world and doing things, you know, like a typical middle school boy would do. He's got a family. His family seemed pretty chill for the most part. His brother seems great. His older brother's like wonderful. He's like, Ritsu is just like super supportive. He's like, it's fine. And he manages to bend the spoon back. Except it doesn't seem that Ritsu is psychic. It seems he's just really smart. And he gives it back. Kageyama Ritsu. He's like, oh, thanks, Ritsu. Yeah, like they have like a really nice, loving family. Like his parents are kind. His brother's really nice. Like Mob's got a pretty great home life. It's great. I imagine Reigen is by himself because that seems typical for a character like him. But yeah, so I just Salt Middle School. Salt Middle School. This show, it's already winning so much. But yeah, so Mob Psycho, our mob boy. I love that he sees all the other girls as vegetables. Like they're not even relevant except for Tsubomi. Tsubomi is the pretty girl that he has a crush on, which is so cute. And he's just like infatuated with her, saying she's as cute as ever today. Aw. And he just has he has a stereotypical like middle school life. He doesn't know. He falls asleep in class. He like likes the girl. He has a pretty normal life. The whole thing was sports where he jumps up to hit the soccer ball and misses dramatically. God, it's great. That's such a wonderful moment where he just can't, he's not athletic. He just happens to have this psychic ability that Reigen is using. So yeah, we go through the motions of this day at middle school where he like runs to his heart content. And then yeah, Reigen calls him being like, hey, I need some help with this bridge. Oh my God. And so we have our middle spot, our little intermission card here. From the local neighborhood council, they go to this tunnel. So they take the bus and everything, which is funny because at the end of the episode, they've stayed there too long. All the buses have ran for the day, so they have to like find another way back. But what's interesting about the world building in this is that Mob can like sense spiritual things from inanimate objects. Like he senses from seeing the newspaper that something's up and that there could be more to the story, which is interesting. But God. And then, yeah, Reigen and them, like, figuring out the tunnel. I like that Mob's like, you know, I think the tunnel might actually be haunted. And Reigen's like, oh, it's fine. And I love that when Reigen goes in and he immediately runs back out. That's great. But Mob, again, as a protagonist, he's not really overly concerned. He's, like, watching the ants and stuff. He's easily distracted and kind of aloof. But he's a psychic and he's building up towards an explosion. So maybe him being aloof and quiet is not a bad thing, right? And I love he's like, oh, well, you seem to have everything under control. I didn't think you needed my help. It's like, well, come on, Mob. Why did he bring you out there then? You know? But he's like, oh, it seems pretty dangerous, actually. And Reigen's like, really? Okay. He's like, well, I'm counting you to support me from behind however you can. He's so genius. Reigen is just so devious in all of this. It's amazing. He's like, and I like that during this entire thing inside the tunnel, Mob's like, well, can't you feel that around us? And Reigen's like, he's like, do you feel something? And he's like, oh, well, it's pretty humid in here. And he's like, no, about the auras. And Reigen's like, oh, yeah. My nose is a little stuffy today, so it's hard for me to detect auras. And like, Mob's like, what does that have to do with anything with this? So yeah, Reigen tries to pass off the fact that he can't detect the auras because his nose is stuffy. And Mob's like, that's not how it works. And he's like, when you get to my level, it does. I love these. Like, when you get to my level of psychic, that's when smell makes an effect. It's like, oh my God. He's so full of shit. And it's so funny. God, this episode was great. But yeah, so it's like, feel would be an understatement. There are 12, and so counting all the different spirits, we're completely surrounded. And I love that Mob, like, he's like, fight the ghost, Mob. And Mob, like, starts doing this big array. And then Reigen starts walking off. He doesn't even stay to help. He's just like, gets out of the way. But then he has a dramatic explosion and the wind makes his tie and his hair blow. This show, it knows exactly what it is. And it knows exactly what it's doing. And that's why I love it so far. It's a lot of noise, really strong, huh? If we were normal people, we would have been in danger. And then he runs into the boss. Oh, of course, the boss has like such a great backstory. That they were a biker gang called the Death Specters and they tripped on a banana peel and died. They're like, well, it wasn't actually the ghost's fault that was died. It was actually us on the banana peel. It's like, God, it's great. It's so great. But yeah, so then Mob ends up like fighting the boss and reducing him down to this tiny spirit. And then I love that Reigen takes complete credit for it. He's like, go back to the ozone layer, but he's doing nothing. Just, And so they turn him into the tiniest little specter. And Reigen's like, okay, go ahead, kill him. Make him, kill him again. Make him disintegrate. And Mob's like, no, wait, I want to hear him out. Like, Mob has the actual heroic protagonist answer. Reigen's just like, oh, get rid of him. Step on him like he's an ant. And Mob's like, well, he said something about being controlled by somebody. I think we need to listen and see what's up. God, it's great. And then we find out that there's an actual spirit that's controlling all of them. And God, Reigen with the poses and all the dramatic stuff. Like, I'm going to take so many screenshots. Y'all don't even know. And so he's like, oh no, we just slipped on the banana peel. That ghost didn't kill us. But I love that Mob like uses his powers to detect this ancient spirit that's been in the mountain, like within the tunnel. And the animation goes crazy and then you have all the shadowy hands reaching out. And then you see this monster with all the eyes. And Mob just like knocks him out instantly. Like he eats Mob, but then Mob like kills him from within. God, it's great. And yeah, Reigen can't see the spirits. That's the thing. Reigen can't see any of it. He can see some of the low level ones, but God, it's great. And then he destroys him. And that ghost's like, who are you? And Mob says, I'm nobody. Just a psychic. Reigen's like, you baka. You're Mob, the student of Reigen ARATAKA, the new star of the paranormal world. Oh, right. Yeah. Wow. And then I love, it's so cute. It's so cute that the little ghost boss is like, now I can pass on peacefully. And he gives a little photo of his crew, of his gang. And they all like pass the afterlife. And it's like the hilarious, like where you see them all standing there and they're like, bye Mob. Thanks for helping us pass on. And it's just, it's freaking adorable. And that kind of ties to, I think, why Mob is with Reigen and why he tolerates him. Because there's a part of me that's like, okay, Mob has to realize, he's not dumb. He has to realize that Reigen is not a psychic. Like, and maybe the sad thing is that Mob's convincing himself that he doesn't think that because that would mean, it seems like Mob and Reigen have developed this friendship in Mob's mind. I think Reigen just views Mob as a middle schooler he can use, right? He doesn't see it as a friendship, more or less a business partnership. But Mob, who seems like he's this impressionable kid, like on the verge of adolescence, views Reigen as like a mentor and a friend and a fellow psychic. And if he's wrong and Reigen's been lying to him about that this whole time, then that trust they've built and established is going to be ruined. And Mob seems like the type of person that kind of craves a little bit of social interaction. And so he doesn't want to lose what he has with Reigen, even if he might suspect that it's a lie, right? Because when Mob looks up and sees all those guys departing into the other world, it's like they were all a gang. They were all like a group of friends. And it almost seems like Mob kind of wants that. And the same thing when they go back to the city, there's a shot where we see these guys at the seasoning station. The seasoning station, Salt Middle School seasoning station. I'm here for it. Puns galore. But they're at the station and he sees these guys like walking by him and they're like, "Oh, what do you want to do? Let's get something to eat." And he's like, "Oh," like he sees them walking by and he's like, "Oh, that's friendship. Like those are friends." And then Reigen shows up and he's like, "Hey, sorry to keep you waiting, shall we?" And he's like, "Oh yeah." He says, "Yes." He's like, "Does ramen work for you?" He says, "Yes." And then Reigen says, "If you're going to add on chashu pork, limit it to 2. He says, "All right." So that's the thing. Mob sees those people walk by and they have this friendship. They're like, "Oh, we're going to go out to eat. You want to go?" And he's like, "Sure, sure." And he has this like innocent look on his face like he wants that. He's like, "Oh, I want to go too." But he's not invited. And then Reigen's like, "Hey, you want to get some food?" And Mob's like, "Oh, yeah, you want to be friends with me too, just like those guys are friends." And that's so sweet. But also, I'm like, Reigen's just using you. Like, I definitely feel like Mob feels that him and Reigen are close and friends. And Reigen's just like, "You're some kid with some crazy powers that I'm using for my own advantage." And that dynamic will surely not lead to any angst or anything to do with Mob exploding at 100%. Surely not. Nah. Oh my God. So this is great. This series, the animation style is unique. The humor is absolutely ridiculous. I'm 100% here for it. The characters, Reigen, I'm going to have so much fun with him, I feel. And then bless our sweet summer child Mob. He seems like such a cinnamon roll. I feel like the ghosts and stuff are going to be a lot of fun to see their crazy, wacky backstories of how they became spirits. And then Mob's getting close to exploding. Whatever that entails. So yeah. But this was a lot of fun and I'm really excited. I hope you all are too, but I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please no spoilers. I'm going to figure it out once I watch the series, but as we go, I'm going to figure out more, I'm sure. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Mob Psycho 100. Bye. Where do we even start?